Hey, good people. This week we are in the chapter discussing values and the helping relationship. And while we are discussing the information in this chapter, I really encourage you to think about your own personal values, the foundation that was established for you, the foundation that you lean on for yourself, your understanding what you believe in, and how that could impact the work that you do as a helping professional. Now, beginning with the lecture, I just want to read this one small portion out of the textbook. And this is at the very beginning of the chapter. And the reading is, counselors must respect the values of their clients and have the ability to work with a range of clients with diverse worldviews and values. Your clients have the right to live by their personal values, even if those values conflict with your personal values. One of the things that we have to be mindful of as helping professionals is that it truly, truly is not about us. When our clients come to see us, our clients, consumers, patients, whatever their title or terminology may be, they are coming because they are in need of something. They are coming because they are looking for something, hurting, wanting, feeling less than, and they're coming for our expertise. So yes, while they do value our input, it really is not about us. They are listening for information that could guide them through in decisions that they need to make. So when we're talking about managing the personal values, you see here in some of these slides in the very beginning that it talks a lot about what you need to do as a helping professional. And now, I apologize, while we're going through these slides, I just want you, again, to be mindful of what is the foundation that you stand on, and how would you explain that, or how would that benefit, I should say, the work that you do with the helping professional. One of the areas that we get into when we talk about what our values and beliefs are as helping professionals is this whole idea of value imposition. When we talk about imposing our values, we're looking at you, the helping professional, directly attempting to try to influence your values, beliefs, your attitudes, everything that you find helpful onto the client. That would almost kind of be considered an act of countertransference, where you are trying to work with the client, but have them do exactly what it is that you're looking for them to do, to believe whatever it is that you believe. A lot of times when we're working with clients, consumers, and patients, we have to recognize that we won't always be on the same page when it comes down to what our values are, what we believe in, how our attitudes may be about approaching certain things. And so, yes, there may be times when we conflict one with another, but we have to recognize when those conflicts happen, how do we, the helping professional, address them? So in this section, when we talk about value conflicts, sometimes we automatically jump to, well, maybe I just need to go ahead and refer this client to a different worker. We have to be sure that we have an understanding about what is an appropriate referral versus an inappropriate referral. Simply because we may not believe, what our client believes, that is not reason to make a referral. For example, there may be a worker who has a very strong religious background, and their faith is built on the Islamic faith. And their client comes in and they have a strong religious background, and their faith is all established in Christianity. Just because you are practicing the Islamic faith and your client may be of Christian faith, that does not mean that you need to go ahead and make the referral to a different worker. Just because your value system is different does not mean that that's going to create necessary conflict in your treatment. And that's something when we talk about religion and the value system, we get into that a little bit later in the chapter. When we are talking about making referrals, we have to be mindful that, yes, some referrals can be made from an unfortunate discriminatory basis. But we also have to be mindful as well, good people, just as it discusses in our textbook, that the foundation of our helping profession comes from and it stems on the whole concept from Carl Rogers, the whole idea of unconditional positive regard, having this unconditional, unjudgmental attitude towards our clients, consumers, and patients, meaning that we are here to respect our clients, consumers, and patients right where they are, right where their needs may be, not to get them into a place where we feel as though we have the right to judge. As we go on throughout, or as you go throughout your textbook and reading, you will notice that yes, there are some definite legal cases in here that I want you to read over and to be mindful of. The reason being because, again, as we stated earlier on in the semester, our legal obligation supersedes any type of code of conduct or code of ethics that we may be functioning under within the profession that we are working in. So please make sure you take the opportunity to review the legal cases that are in your textbook. Now, when we get to the place when we're talking about how I am working, or how you, the worker, are working with your clients, consumers, and patients, and some of your values are being challenged by what your clients, consumers, or patients may believe in, what they may adapt to, sometimes we do need to seek supervision in regards to how we work with our clients and consumers. In your textbook, there is a section that addresses supervision with your clients. And in that section, there is a list of 20 questions that I really want you to pay attention to, because it talks about the type of supervision, and it may give you information on examples, I should say, of the type of clients, consumers, patients that you may be working with where you may need to seek some supervision. So please take that opportunity and take that time to review those questions and review these cases that are written in the chapter. It's very important that you go through these cases and answer these questions very objectively in regards to where you are in your thought process. One of the issues or types of clients that we get to right now that we're working with, or I should say that our textbook is leading us to, is the conflict value in regards to sexual attitudes and behavior. We know that culturally right now, our society has made several changes, many advances in working with the LGBT community. So we have to look at for ourselves, what is it that we think about, or what are our thoughts in relationship to sexual values and sexual behavior, and how could that influence the work that we do or the work that we have on our clients, consumers, and patients. Also, when we talk about abortion, and not just the legal perspective, but morally, our thoughts about that, how would that impact or how would that influence if we're working with clients who may feel as though they need to have, or they have the right or to desire an abortion, versus another type of client that says, oh no, my whole idea about abortion is totally wrong. How do you find the balance in working with your clients, consumers, and patients in regards to the concept and the issue of abortion? Again, there's a really great case study in your book, and I really, really strongly encourage you to read that case study. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, we get into the issue of spirituality and religion as a helping professional. Some of the things that we have to be mindful of course, is that religion encompasses many different values and beliefs. Spirituality is one thing, religion is another thing. We, as a helping professional, need to make sure that we are open to discussing our client's perspective. What are their values and beliefs in regards to religion and spirituality? What do you understand from your client's perspective of their religious beliefs or their spirituality, their spiritual walk? What questions do you have for them? In this section, when we talk about religion and spirituality, we, as the helping professional, just as with sexual attitudes and sexual behavior, we have to be able to acknowledge when we just don't know, when we don't have the correct answer, when we are confused about what the approach should be. It's okay to acknowledge to our clients, I need to research, or I need to learn a little bit more about what would be appropriate. It's okay to ask our clients to give us some instruction along the way. Teach me what I need to know in regards to your religious beliefs, your ideas, so that I, the worker, am not going to be offensive or say anything offensive to you, my client, consumer, or patient. When we get to this place, when we begin talking about the end of life and end of life decisions, this is where we really have to be mindful of what we value and believe and how this may impact or influence what our clients, consumers, and patients may be dealing with. When we talk about the end of life decisions, that's going to include again, this whole idea and this premise of how do we help people, help our clients, consumers, and patients come to terms with the process of getting to the end of life. When we're looking at the end of life, our textbook goes through a couple of different acts, and legislation that it brings to our attention. One of the biggest one is when we're talking about physician-assisted suicide. And this act, when we're talking about death with dignity, this Death with Dignity Act is one that came into fruition, came into law in 1997 in Oregon, and we see how it's kind of progressed throughout the next following years, to where we get to the place where we're talking about an end-of-life option act that was established in California in 2016, and then again in Oregon back with the Death with Dignity Act. There is definitely a website that is listed in your textbook that I really encourage you to visit this website to learn a little bit more about the legality with the end of life decisions, the physician assisted suicides. Some of the things that we have to be mindful of is that, again, it is not about what we value and what we may think, but it's working with our clients, consumers, and patients in making sure that they are comfortable in what their values and beliefs are. On this slide that you see in front of you is just, again, things that are listed in the textbook, some of the key terms that you may come into contact with when we're talking about the end of life decisions. All right, so good people, this chapter discussion is very brief, mostly because a lot of the work has to be done with you. The work needs to be done so that you have an idea of where you stand in your values and beliefs as a helping professional. So at this time, I'm going to encourage you again, to begin exploring some of the case studies that's in the chapter. Please, good people, please do not overlook those case studies. Take the opportunity and read through them. Become comfortable with the answers that you're providing, because truly, this is an exploration for you so that you become comfortable and you become knowledgeable about yourself. And maybe if there are areas where you still have questions, you know where the areas of growth need to take place. All right, good people. Again, this chapter is all about values and helping relationships. So please take that opportunity, again, read through the chapter, and please don't ignore those case studies. There are discussion post questions and an assignment in this week's folder. I bid you love, peace, and bacon grease. I hope you have a great day.